Hey guys, JV here from Alpha Wolf Consulting. Talking to you today more about the unconditional mindset. And taking off from yesterday, we were understanding the aspect of time and space and sort of allowing the old mindset or the conditional mindset to simply fade away by giving ourselves time and space to become the new that we want, to allow the old that we are leaving behind to fade quietly into the past. Now, it's important for us to understand that looking back is a way to understand growth within self. So perspective or perception from what was to what is a very important aspect of the journey throughout self, of the journey to becoming who you want to be, to creating what you want to create in life. The not so much comparison, but the changes or shifts between who I used to be and who I am now allow for the understanding of growth and the conceptualization of the change within ourselves. So this is an important aspect, that for me to understand who I am now is sort of understanding who I am in comparison to who I was. And it's a very important aspect of self, because who I was is a part of who I am. Not to say who I was dominates and controls who I will be, and that I cannot change, who I am to become who I want to be. But it's an important thing to understand that all aspects of self, positive or negative, are a part of the journey within self, are a part of the journey of self. So we do not want to get into this idea of rejecting who I was and trying to sort of compartmentalize or hide the past. It's through embracing and letting go to all that was, so that I may find what can be, if this makes sense to you. And it's very important that we start to understand this, because the aspect of self, of rejecting the old self, is not a healthy way to create a new self, or to create your new self. So should I reject who I was in the context of I despise who I was and that aspect of me in that time in my life, or that part of my journey? I am rejecting an aspect of self. I am rejecting an aspect of who I was. And this leads to me rejecting unconsciously myself. Because who I am is formed by what I've been through, by the journey I have in life. So we don't want to get into this idea of rejecting the past. We want to embrace the past and accept that certain aspects of me, or certain aspects of my journey, I do not wish to walk anymore. For example, I used to be highly codependent, and that's a part of my understanding or my development, was that I had developed codependent and sort of these unhealthy relationships with self and relationships with others. And it's not to say that we want to reject that and say, I have never been a codependent person. Because should I do that and reject that sense of self, then I am saying that that aspect of me was not good enough. That I was not good enough because of that. So it's very important for us to understand that we embrace it. It's an aspect of self that I was codependent until I became independent and self-dependent. And now I am no longer codependent. Do you sort of get it? What I sort of reject in life can be used against me. What I avoid in life, what I try to hide from myself or hide from others, it's able to be used against me, will become my kryptonite in life. Should I have anger issues and I pretend and reject and hide the aspect that I used to have anger issues, anyone who can trigger my anger can sort of use that against me. Anyone who has memory of my anger can hold that over me. So when we are trying to create this unconditional mindset, we have to unconditionally not embody, but we have to embrace all aspects of self and understand and look back at the aspects of self that we did not like, that we did not want to embody in life, and that we let go of. Because in that, or there, lies the empowerment, the self-realization of change. That who I was not dictated and determined by the past. So who I am is not determined or dictated by the past. It's dictated by my actions, my decisions, my thoughts, my words, my embodiment of who I want to be in life, not who I was, determining who I can be. Does this sort of make sense? So it's a very important aspect because it allows for the healthy sort of wholeness within life. Because should I reject an aspect of self, should I reject who I was in life, I am saying there is a part of me that is not good enough for who I am today. And this leads us to creating unconscious beliefs of worthiness or lack of worthiness, of worthlessness. And the more we do this sort of stuff, the more we create negative and unhealthy attachments to who we can be and to who we will be in life and to the potential that is within us. Because all of us hold within ourselves the potential for radical growth, for radical change, to create and become the version of self who we've always dreamed of, the version of self who we aspire to be in life, who we think is the highest version we could ever attain. So it's very important for us to understand the mindfulness and the ability to retrospect, to look back on past self, on past aspects of self, and to realize and acknowledge the growth of the individual, the growth of self. That I may have had anger issues in the past, but I do not have anger issues now. That who I was, or my unconscious behavioral patterns, or my unconscious belief systems do not control the future of me, my future potential. And it's in understanding this that I gain the power of creation to become all that I seek in life, for I have changed that aspect of self. Not through rejection, not through pushing it away, not through hiding it, not through pretending like that aspect of self didn't exist, through embracing it and realizing the futility of the need of it, that I don't need to be angry, that power doesn't come from negative aspects of self. No matter what people believe, anger doesn't cause power, determination causes power. Do you sort of get it? Anger doesn't cause strength, belief causes strength. Like, it's very important to understand this, because those who seek to manipulate, those who seek to lie, those who seek to mislead in life, believe that anger is power, that anger is strength, that I must hold my anger to embody, or not embody, but to embolden myself to fight, to stand up for myself. When in truth, I don't need to. When in truth, any aspect of self can be powerful, can be my source of strength. Love can be power. Love can be strength. Do you sort of get it? Respect can be power. Respect can be strength. Anything or any aspect of self or aspect of identity can become power. And the unconditional mind is choosing to create your identity of self, or the aspects of self, based on what you want to, or you choose to believe are your positions of strength. For example, peace is one of my positions of strength, one of my aspects of power. Do you sort of get it? By having peace within myself, I am more powerful than I have ever been, because I do not respond to any event or to anything or situation that happens in life out of a state of stress, because I don't need to. Do you sort of get it? So in creating your unconditional mindset, through looking back at who I was, you are able to redefine your positions of power, your positions of strength, your internal fortitude, from being one that has been dictated by others, by those who want to control, manipulate, mislead in life, i.e. the mainstream of society, and to create your future based upon who you want to be as an individual, who you seek to be as an individual. What aspects of your authentic self do you aspire to hold within yourself? What aspects of your authentic self do you want to let go of? Do you sort of get it? You're not a slave to unconscious behavior or to conditions that should someone do something that I don't like, I must respond with anger. Otherwise they will keep doing it. Should someone do something that I do not like the secret is, I can just leave that situation. I don't have to entertain that person. So should someone lie, cheat and steal, I don't have to respond with anger. I don't have to respond with hurt. I don't have to respond with any emotion that they expect. I can simply wave goodbye, turn around and go on my way. Internal peace, your internal state is the power within you. And this power of the internal state is what many are looking for, are seeking for in life, in material things. And that's true power.